David, and good evening to everybody. And we're doing our mass. God bless us all. But we have a really a special event to commemorate and a special person to honor this evening. And we want to. We're so grateful for the opportunity to do this. We have with us a guest, Bethany McKenney, from Summit County Council, and she and New Franklin Council have commendations to present to an individual by the name of Dustin Nist. And you may have read about Dustin. You might know Dustin. He's a Manchester grad, and he's the son of Manchester graduates. But most importantly, he was the right person in the right place on June 11th when there was a danger, and he responded with duty. So we're going to honor Dustin for that this evening, for his brave and courageous act, and we'll talk a little bit more about the details of that here in just a few minutes. But before we go further, this time that Dustin has a couple of family members with him. We're going to ask them to come forward, and I'm going to ask Dustin to tell us who's with you tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Adamson. This is my mother, Melinda, and my grandfather, Don. They've been a big inspiration of my entire life. They're great people. I couldn't be more proud to have them as my family and the people who taught me kind of anything that I needed to know. So that they're keep me out of trouble and keep me in line with everything. But like I said, I greatly appreciate everything they did for me and the lessons that they taught me over my lifetime.
Well, not surprising. What a gentleman. So Dustin, we have you here today to honor your meritorious service on June the 11th, and just briefly from Council's resolution, saw a vehicle drive into the Tuscarawas River, notified the fire department, and entered the river, gave life-saving aid to an occupant of the vehicle. Please share with us what you did, how it happened, how you garnered the courage to do what you did, and tell us what happened that day.
Well, I was driving home from work about 5 o'clock or so, maybe 5:20 or so. I was going down Clinton Road. Anyone that's driven down that road knows it kind of tapers and it's very hilly, kind of a dangerous road. And the car kind of sped up going down the hill and towards the bottom where the car dealership is. And I could tell it wasn't going to stop, and almost T-boned into a white van with 2 occupants in it. It was an elderly woman and an elderly man, and they were bike riding. We kind of came to a stop and stared at each other. It almost seemed like forever, but it's just mere seconds. We pulled in and she called 911. I went over to get to the Clinton Fire Department, and we kind of
where was the vehicle at this time?
Oh, we didn't know. It just was a cloud of dust came up. So we kind of didn't know. I wanted to at least, notify them since they were so close. We kind of ran around the corner to see the vehicle went over the railroad tracks and into the river. And seeing that it was virtually submerged, I just didn't even think twice. I handed them my wallet, keys, and phone, and started to go into the river since I kind of was familiar with the area. And since everybody that's been around the Clinton area knows that river is up and down in the matter of days. If it rained the night before, it'll be up. The next day, it'll be down. So unfortunately, it had a pretty bad thunderstorm the night before, and the car was almost fully submerged. So I figured there would be occupants in it, and hopefully I could do something to help them out.
So what did you do?
Just broke down some trim or some leaves and sticks and tried to go down there and rescue them. Unfortunately, when I got to the car, all the doors were locked. Tried to get I got a busted railroad tie to maybe break a window out. Unfortunately enough, I was able to get the back window down, and was able to get the get them to unlock the car, and I was able to keep her head up, make sure that she was okay until Clinton and New Franklin arrived.
Wow.
They did very well, so I give them a lot of respects. The stuff they do on a daily basis.
Any idea how long you were in the river before they got there?
Everything was so fast. It felt like forever, but it felt so fast at the same time. I couldn't even tell you. It was unfortunate, that Franklin passed away. Yeah. But it was, at least there wasn't 2 casualties.
Did you get to speak to the lady after the fact?
I talked to her son, Jack.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he was, very thankful for it. He was very nice and talk to, and sent me a card. So it was, greatly appreciated.
Now, once the EMS got on the scene,
Very fast.
and then
Franklin
what,
got
did you
there.
stay in the water? Did you
Yeah.
come out of the water?
I stayed in the water until Clinton got down there, and then once they got, I didn't, obviously I don't have any medical expertise, so I didn't want to start tugging her or pulling her just in case, if break her back or her legs are broken or something. So once they got down there, I was able to keep the door open for them as, Clinton Fire Department got him out, and then New Franklin arrived and was able to take it from there.
And then the remainder of the day, I mean, what happens? You go
I
home?
stuck around for about an hour, gave the report to Ohio State Highway Patrol, and went home. And I walked in the door, and I said, "You wouldn't believe it." She thought I was in trouble. I was like, "No, not this time."
No, I'm sure.
No, so it was a very humbling experience, but it was very, it was almost a little unsettling to see, someone that was married for almost 50 years pass away, lose their beloved one too. So it was unfortunate.
Yeah. Grandpa, if I call you that, Don, who happens to be a very accomplished amateur golfer. You found out about it in sort of a curious way, or is that true?
Yeah, I lived here for many years, and I read it in the Beacon the next day, and but I didn't realize Dustin was the hero in the case, and so I called up my son, Dustin's dad, and said, "You got to read this article because we're so familiar with that area because we played a lot of golf at Chippewa." And I'm telling Dustin about it, and he said, "That was me." I said, "Whoa!"
Is
I
that
didn't
so-
even know that.
Oh, wow.
Is
So
that
he made me
incredible?
very happy and proud grandpa.
Wow. So, Mom, what do you think when he walks in the door soaking wet?
So he was standing in my kitchen. He was soaking wet and muddy. And my first reaction was, "What are you doing standing there getting the floor all messed up?" And then he said, "Mom, I have to tell you something." He was really upset. You could just see on his face something was really wrong. And that's when I just said, "What's wrong? What happened?" And then he proceeded to tell me what happened. And we were just, it was just really unreal.
Wow. Well, I guess, and maybe to kind of wrap up, I mean, now looking back on it, Dustin, as it all happened, are you, does it all seem like a dream? Are you surprised you did what you did, or?
I'm just glad I was able to be there to help. I mean, it's kind of surreal still, but I'm glad something was able to be done.
Wow. Well, that's just fabulous. Well, folks, if because of COVID, we have to ask you folks to head back, and then we're going to make some presentations here. Councilperson McKenney will make a presentation, and I'll give you a chance to say. Just let me say this. These are difficult times, and they talk about you want something to help lift your spirits. And then, kind of at the same time, there's, gee, what about the youth of America? What do we, where's the fiber of the country going to come from, and where's the hope for the future? Here it is.
Yeah.
Right. Totally humble, jumped into service, and the way you present yourself again today, you folks got to be so proud, and it's such a tribute to you as a family to raise a young man like this. And we are so blessed as a community to have you in this community, to have a young man like this from this community. So I couldn't be prouder of you. But so let me shut up and Bethany, what would you like to add?
I just agree that, I thank God that you were the right person at the right place at the right time. And you did the right things, whether it's instinct or so we're grateful to you.
Thank you.
And I'm struck with your humility too. You're not tooting your own horn, and but we want to do this for you today and just honor you for the way you leaped into action, without a thought for yourself.
I greatly appreciate the consideration.
Well, if you'd like to proceed.
Sure. So Dustin, on behalf of Summit County Council, Council. We would like to give you a commendation. I'm going to read it. In Greek mythology, the word hero refers to characters who, in the face of danger and adversity, display courage and the will for self-sacrifice. That is heroism for some greater good of all humanity. And at approximately 5:22 on the evening of June 11th, Dustin Nist helped save the life of an 83-year-old woman after the vehicle she was a passenger in crashed into the Tuscarawas River next to the Clinton Fire Station. Nist was following the vehicle on his way home from work from Carter Jones Lumber Company in Copley. Franklin Rolfe, 85 of Cleveland, was driving the 1993 Buick Roadmaster with passenger Marlene Crouch, also of Cleveland, eastbound on Clinton Road. When the vehicle went left of center as it approached the intersection of South Cleveland-Maslin Road, the vehicle ran through the stop sign and continued eastbound, going off the east side of the road through a parking lot and over an embankment, where it became airborne, crossed railroad tracks, and landed in the river. The car became mostly submerged, leaning on the driver's side. And upon witnessing the accident, Nist immediately ran into the fire station to get help, and then went back to the vehicle in the river, grabbed a railroad track timber, and swam over to break open a window, as all the doors of the vehicle were locked. After smashing through the back window, he talked to Mrs. Crouch, who was coherent but injured, and got her to unlock her door. Fearful of pulling Miss Crouch out, since he did not know the extent of her injuries, Nist helped hold her head above water while they waited for rescuers to arrive. And Clinton Fire, assisted by fire departments from New Franklin and Coventry, arrived shortly afterwards to help safely remove Miss Crouch from the vehicle. Now, therefore, be it known by all and declared by the Council of County of Summit, State of Ohio, that this council recognizes the courage and self-sacrifice that enabled Dustin Nist to be a hero that day, and we salute and commend him for his outstanding deed. We urge all citizens to join us in honoring this fine, upstanding gentleman in receiving this commendation for his dedication to the public cause on this 15th day of July in the year of 2020.
Thank you. All right, well, Dustin, on behalf of New Franklin City Council, this is a resolution awarding a certificate of meritorious service to Dustin Nist. Whereas Dustin Nist, a resident of New Franklin, on June 11th, 2020, at risk of his own life, went to the aid of a person in danger. And whereas Dustin Nist saw a vehicle drive into the Tuscarawas River, notified the fire department, then entered the river, and in chest-deep water gave life-saving aid to an occupant of the vehicle. And whereas New Franklin Council wishes to honor this courageous conduct by awarding a certificate of meritorious service to Dustin Nist, now therefore be it resolved, in recognition of the heroic action of Dustin Nist, in risking his life by coming to the aid of a person in distress, Council hereby awards Dustin Nist a certificate of meritorious service this 15th day of July 2020. And I sure wish I could give you a hug and shake your hand. But
Exactly.
I
please accept this
appreciate
on
it.
our behalf.
Thank you.
Thanks to all. Thank you so much, and family, for being here, and Dustin, for being who you are.
Thank you. I really appreciate
All right.
everything you guys did for me.
Thanks very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you, New Franklin Council, and thank you, Mayor Adamson. And of course, thank you, Dustin.
Thank you, guys. Greatly appreciate it.